Hi, this is Lainey Cameron. I'm here with Anisha Bhatia, and I am so excited because I adored this book. In fact, I've been all over the internet telling people how much I adored this book. If I'll just start off for anyone who's listening, if you liked Bridget Jones, this is way funnier, cleverer, but has all the snarkiness and wittiness and interior monologue, and it's set in Mumbai. So if you only listen to the first 20 seconds, this is an amazing book. But Anisha, congratulations. Now it's out in the world.
Thank you. It's exciting and it's scary all at once. And thank you so much for those wonderful words.
Oh, it's so great. And let's take another peek at a quick review before we start, because there's a beautiful review here from Sarah Desai. Did I say that right? Desai? Is that correct? Her name? Yeah. Author of The Dating Plan, which is another funny, beautiful rom-com book. And I think she caught some of the same words that I'm seeing show up in your reviews. She says, Anisha Bhatia crafts a heartwarming story of self-discovery filled with deep emotion, hilarious and relatable. The effervescent main character, ZOYA, captured my heart from the first page and wouldn't let go. And that was my similar experience of this book. I couldn't put it down. So first off, congratulations. It is not easy to write a book that is laugh out loud funny, and you did it. It's so funny.
Thank you.
I can't wait to ask you all my questions. Like, how do you come up with the idea for a book like this? Because there's so many different things interwoven, and we're going to talk about how it's got some serious, like, social issues interwoven through it, but you do it in a really lighthearted way. And so, gosh, teach me here. How the heck did this book come about?
Well, it came about with the aunt's character because I kind of developed it in a little evening class that I was taking just to get out of the house after my second kid was born. I think I was going a little bit stir crazy. And she was actually the catalyst for the story. And I wanted to have, growing up in India, we weren't allowed to say out things loud, all the irreverent things that we were thinking of, but then they're always in our head. So I kind of wanted to get this character who's a little bit over the top and all the irreverent things that she's making this person think, and just come up with a story. And I use that kind of a funny voice simply to make it more relatable to everybody around.
And tell those who haven't had a chance to read the book yet a little bit of what it's about. Give us a little bit of a taste of this book.
So it's a comedy of manners. It is set in Mumbai, and it is a satirical take on Indian society's obsession with marriage. So it's about Zoya Sahani, who's a 26-year-old girl in Mumbai, good career, happy family, everything going for her, but she's not like your perfect Indian girl. She's not tall, she's not light-skinned, and she's not good looking. She's short, she is fat, and she is spunky. All of those things are like big cross marks when you have to get married, like when people are looking for a boy for you. And her family has decided it's a problem. They need to get her married because she's 26. And she wants what she's being made to want, but she really doesn't want that. And when there is a choice between what she wants and what she's made to want by her society, what does she do in the end? And how does she stand up for herself?
And I adored her internal monologue where she's thinking about her body and how she feels about being kind of larger than the average bride, maybe is the best way to put it.
Yes.
And like, she's actually kind of okay with how she is. She loves her food, she loves life, but everybody else is telling her she's not okay.
Yes.
And so her interior monologue is hysterical. But like, I'm not going to give anything away on what choices she makes by the end of the book, but I don't know. I could relate to that struggle she had between other people's expectations and what she wanted out of life.
That's great to know. And it's set in India, and India is such a collective sort of society, giving so much of importance to the family unit that, you almost put the family first and not yourself. So there's always this struggle because it's such a traditional society, and all of these modern things have come in, and the person who gets like squished in the middle is usually like the girl or the woman. And I just wanted to bring that out, but also make it relatable with like everyday language.
Yeah, you did a great job with that. Like the whole concept of arranged marriage, right? Like I don't come from a culture where that's part of like the culture in any way, but
Right.
it was so relatable, her trying to work through like, do I do it? Do I not do it? And Yeah, I loved it. And I'll tell you, I actually wrote in a little bit of post-it note here. Here's the top words showing up in your reviews, because I know you don't read your reviews, which I think is very smart, very smart. Heartfelt and heartwarming are like top words that come up again and again. Entertaining, delicious,
Ooh.
and I love this one, like the best stand-up comedy if it was a book. What a great thing to hear. Are you funny in real life? Like, do you walk around making everybody laugh?
No, I mean, not to that extent. I've been asked this before as well in like a reading critique group, and I'm like, look, I'm not this way in real life. You don't expect to laugh so much around me, the usual. But it for everybody. I think we all have these things like percolating in our head. We just don't say them out loud. I just put them on paper.
I love it. I love it. And that's the funniest part, is her internal monologue the whole way through. That's why it reminded me of Bridget Jones, because of the internal monologue, but it's way more clever and way more witty, in my humble opinion.
Thank you.
So how do you edit a book like this? I'm actually fascinated in your path to getting this into the world, and like how many revision runs did it have to go through? Talk to us about that process.
Oh, so a lot of them. And the reason I say that is because this is the first piece of long fiction that I have ever written. And I am very aware that I am incredibly grateful to get this published, because most people come with like the third or fourth books as their debut books. And I don't have, any writing background. I don't have an MFA degree. I've taken some writing classes, yes, but that's why there was so much of editing in this book. It just came in layers. And I had 3 edits with my agent and another 3 with my editor. And it took a while, but it's there.
And I want to ask you, I'm going to put a picture up on screen for those who haven't seen the covers, because this book has 2 covers and 2 titles in different regions of the world. So let me just show this to people. They might be interested to see what happens in publishing world and why we end up with these same book, different titles, different looks. So in the US, it's called The Rules of Arrangement. That's the cover on the left. But if you're watching me, like many of my buddies in the UK, hi, everybody, it's What Are We Doing About Zoya? And that's in India, I'm guessing, too. Like, how many countries, where is the pink cover, the right-hand cover?
It's everywhere outside the US. So that's my UK publisher, Headline Accent, which is a part of Hachette Group. And so they are releasing it in the UK, India, Australia, and most other Commonwealth countries. It will be like the Kindle version is available pretty much everywhere in Europe and Commonwealth. And the paperback is like in certain regions.
So why the 2 covers? I find it fascinating. They've got slightly different tones, a different title, right? It's actually the first line of the book, right? What are we doing about Zoya? Because they're talking about her. How are we going to get her married? Like, how could she not be married yet? Right. And so, like, talk to me about this. It's fascinating to have 2 different covers and titles for a book. How does that happen?
It is, and I was caught by surprise because it's 2 different publishers. And the UK publisher was very, very insistent on the title. And my contract was, it was based on the fact that this is the title they're going to use. So I didn't fight it. I would have loved to have the same title, for both books, because it's just easier. There's less confusion. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But my literary agency, I spoke with the foreign rights director, and it was something very surprising that he said. He's like, a lot of countries should be doing this, but they don't. Because it's a different audience, and they target sort of, different people. And the reason I think it's a different cover, because the UK, the people in the UK are a lot more conversant with Indian culture versus America. So I guess, like, they know exactly how to target it. And I've learned this thing, which is a little humbling for me to say, that all the publishers know what they're doing.
Well, it's just fascinating to me because they're slightly different positioning, right? Like, I would say the UK cover, which is pink. Let me put it back up. People are now wondering what I'm talking about. I would say the UK one is a little more chick lit, a little more lighthearted, and the US one is a little more maybe multicultural fiction and kind of playing on that concept of learning about a different culture and which I love, learning about a different culture, and it's the same book. It's fascinating to me that they like. It's just interesting how the publishing world works.
It is. And it goes to what you just said, because one country is where the whole multicultural thing is just coming out into people's conversations. And the other part, which is the UK, is what it's already there. So they are just going directly to like a specific target market. Whereas here, it's more like a, come look at this kind of a thing.
Right. And that gets us on the social commentary. So like you're dealing with some heavy topics like arranged marriage,
Mhm.
like body image. How do you think about those things? Like it was fascinating to me that you managed to weave them in a very seamless way. But like talk to me a little bit about that.
That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for that compliment. The body image thing, there's a specific reason that I put that in there. I've always been chubby, and I've always gotten that from friends and families, always like well intentioned. And I'm sure it is well intentioned, but I don't think people realize how much harm it does in the way you change your thinking about yourself. And there's so much of a not a stigma, but there's so much of thought process around the fact that a woman isn't married. She may be perfectly happy living that lovely single life, but the thought process is, oh, poor thing. And very soon, she may start thinking of herself as a poor thing, even though she may be having the time of her life. So these things are not even on the table. And for me, that was like a big thing. It's not the norm. It's almost the exception.
That conversation in India, the way you portray it, at least around marriage and kind of the expectation, reminds me a little of the conversation in the US about kids. Like, if you've not had kids by your mid 30s, people are asking you questions about what's wrong and you poor thing. And there's almost like an implicit assumption that everybody wanted children.
Right.
And a lot of people are very happy with no kids and they don't feel a need for having kids. And It's really interesting. I've talked to people about that who say, like, you internalize other people's perceptions that there's something wrong if you don't want kids.
Yes.
And so, like, yeah.
Absolutely. And you hit the, nail on the head using a bad cliche, that there's something wrong with you. If you are not married by a certain age, if you are happy being single, if you are happy, I'm not even going to the kids conversation because in India, it just goes on another level. Hopefully I'll write about it someday.
That's the next one then.
But the notion that there is something wrong with you is just, it's not right.
Yeah, it's not right. And we do internalize it. That's the sad piece, is like we do care about what other people think. And if they assume there's a problem.
It is.
So writing advice. This has been a fascinating path for you to get this book to market. I know you actually found an agent fairly fast in the world of finding an agent. And I think it's because the book is so dang good personally. But talk to me a little bit about what do you advise people who are maybe writing their first or second book? They're not yet published. Like, what advice do you give others?
This is something that I sort of found in read and critique groups, which have been tremendously helpful. But I think all writers should take read and critiques or any kind of critiques that they get with a pinch of salt. And unless everybody's saying the same thing. And then if everybody's saying the same thing, you need to take a look at it because you are the only one who knows how the book looks from like a macro perspective. Everybody's just reading like one chapter or one section that you're showing in your read and critique group. So take it with a pinch of salt unless everybody's saying the same thing. And if they are, then you need to look at it.
That's great advice. And even sometimes they're all saying different things about the same area, right? Yes. Like Neil Gaiman says this wonderful thing around like, look at where they pointed, not what they said. So like if they're all pointing at character, look at your characters, but don't assume that anybody gave you the right answer about your characters. You have to work that out as the writer. And I thought that was a fabulous way to think about it.
Absolutely. And if, look at it, if everybody's saying different things about a particular scene, a character, or something that you're trying to say, you just need to take a second look at that. Absolutely.
Okay. So I have to ask you about food because this book is full of amazing, delicious food. And I actually, like at several points was like, okay, I have to know what that is. And I was like Googling some of the different flatbreads and the breads and the fried things she's eating. I was like, I need to have this. And I've never been in Mumbai. I have no idea what that looks like. So there is so much great food in the book. So where did that come from? Were you very thoughtful about what to include and not? I mean, how did that come around?
It is. I am a foodie. I love my street food. When I go home, the moment I land, I start eating to the moment I board the plane back. And of course, I fall sick in the process because I'm eating so much. But it kind of was a natural progression for her, the way she is, and she enjoys her food. And there's so much of issues around food and body image. Food is almost kind of like, oh my God, I ate carbs. So she's somebody who enjoys it. and who's been told not to enjoy it. And I just wanted to add a lot of these different street foods that is available in Mumbai, and it's on another level when you go, because the food that we know of as Indian food here, and even probably in the UK and the world around, is just one tiny, 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 tiny part of the food that's available. So I just wanted to sort of, show an audience that there is more to Indian food than just chicken tikka masala.
That's great. Yes. And it's so different even between the US and the UK. I love British Indian food, but that's because that's what I grew up with.
Absolutely. And I've heard that the Indian food outside of the best Indian food that you can get outside of India is in the UK. So I'm waiting to try that.
I'm massively biased because I actually went to university in Birmingham, which has a great community. It's both got an Indian and a Pakistani community, and fabulous food. Fabulous food. So yeah.
Oh, you're making me hungry right now.
So let's talk about how people can connect with you if they want to learn more about food or just follow you on social media. So on Instagram, you're at anisha.bhatia.author and you're anishabhatia.com. And anything fun coming up that folks might want to watch out for? Or obviously you'd love some reviews if people read the book.
Yes. And I am going to be putting up recipes from the book every once a week, or once every 2 weeks, and those are those pretty downloadable cards that you can print out and put it in your nice little recipe books. And I'm going to try and keep them simple so that they're easy to make, and stuff that I make at home as well. So these are kind of family recipes as well as what I've included in the rules of arrangement. So that's something
that's fabulous. I'm going to be working out how to make them once I'm back in Mexico. Let's see if I can get the ingredients. And I will say one of my favorite scenes in the book is what did she call it? The girl viewing scene, where she is being shown to a potential suitor, and she just rushed home from work and she got a promotion and she wants to talk about the promotion and nobody wants to hear about it. They just want her to go take in the silver platter and look pretty. And all she's thinking about is the food smells really good and I can't eat any of it because all these guests are here.
Yes, absolutely. And she is, there's it's pressure from both sides. I got this awesome promotion and I'm going to be there's going to be stress at work. And now what? They don't care about my promotion. They just care what I look like. So
it's brilliant.
That's a fun one to write.
It was brilliant. And it's a wonderful contrast, right, of what's going on in her head, which is she got the promotion and she's excited and she's hungry, and what's going on in everybody else in the room who's look pretty, look nice, make sure you walk nicely and daintily as you enter the room.
Exactly. It was a fun thing to write, for sure.
It was wonderful. Well, I encourage folks, get the book. It's so fun. I loved it. Give it a 5-star review. I'm encouraging everybody to read it. And I love any book that takes me to a new culture because I learned something, any place I haven't lived or haven't experienced. But this also is just so dang funny. It's hysterical.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I'm just going to put up the book just to show you.
Perfect.
And if you if you get it from a bookstore, I have a little thing inside, front and back, or just some other surprise that you may get.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, Anisha. This has been fun.
This has been great. Thank you so much, Lainey.
Bye.